now? I changed a little bit my position. I will read. Excuse me, but I should read. I have a lot of words here. Diary of a story, where narrator is his own interpreter, from uncertain reminiscence and faded copies to the multiple new originals. Look into abyss of the past for some trace. The anatomy lesson, confronting your own designs and concepts, bonding, parsing, deconstruction, reminiscence and reconstruction, remembering. The images, fragments, hybrids, architecture, the reflection of major events and ideas, constantly changing and disappearing context. Some traits of already obliterated existence and the inevitable disappearance is the anticipation and prediction of events and disintegration, departure and return. What sort of frames have had the images that were invisible at that time, to the memory lane, to the presence of the past, trace to the spectre of the reader. Flicking through the old issues of the Communication magazine, not so long ago, I come across an error in publishing of the results of an architectural competition in 1991. Below the project, with the constructive manuscript, there was my name. I see the explosion of the lines presented on one of the works here in Belgrade. What's really happening? What are these projects in fact? Therefore, I am already asking myself, why are some works interesting to me again to review, and the others are not? What are the architectural projects corresponding to, actually? The world is permanently constructed and deconstructed. Is there an essential paradox of deconstruction in creative works of architects? And I wonder whether there is internal and external deconstruction and their reciprocity. Whether the seed of deconstruction is already incorporated with the emergence of idea, or is it coming from the outside? What sort of deconstruction exists? The construction of environmental, ideological school dogma. Therefore, it is time to look back over my shoulder, glance into the retrospective, and search through electronic drawers deep in the well of the time for some remains, for something we could call the spirit spectre of the time, the archaeology of the architecture. But it will not be me, it will be someone else. We drew a lot, we have expressed ourselves through drawing and sketching, and through some by words as well. It was the time of the dawn, the beginning. We interacted a lot, worked together. We went off the beaten path. We didn't want to resemble our fathers, we tried to resemble ourselves. We didn't know who we are. Who are we? For example, group portrait, found and painted by Darko Popovic. He marked the new beginning. He branded the new Belgrade architecture exactly 30 years and 4 days ago. I'm looking at the photo today, unrecognizable, mysterious protagonist of that time. There is no one to recognize them but themselves. This one is one of the eternal ground of Belgrade Fortress, on the grand stairs to the subject of to deserve the architecture, complete reconsideration, the desire and the struggle, the search for free and fair match, and for the smooth flow of new ideas, the common good in the striving for a better appearance of Belgrade, right to existence and doing, the right for the architecture without monopoly of oligarchy, geriatrics and the nomenclature. From an image to illusion, invisible but present author of the show, its spirit spectre is today director of television Voice of America in Washington, D.C. We arrived to previous image exhibition thanks to success in one Yugoslav competition which we did as students. The cube was a starting point, dynamized and running diagonally, abstract and expressive. From one cube-like space model, the whole form is generated. Switching drawing of structure of space and switching drawing of structure, construction, and sketch of the mosque, alias computer, pre-digital wire drawing, In the protected monument entity of castle, carefully present, dynamic, neutral, active, all linking composition with Ferhat Pasha Mosque. The mosque from the 16th century, World Heritage by UNESCO, destroyed by explosion in 1993. War, destruction. Was the only photo that survived, work model, crystallization of form and harmony of the homogeneous parallelepiped-like elements, perhaps transformed, spontaneously created vernacular shapes or taken 3D grammar, tightly condensate island proto-urban settlements. The disaster set wake of epic proportions, destruction of the coast of Montenegro, stolen reinforcement, new housing experiment and participation design, a generative system of prefabricated low-rise housing, low-cost housing, pre-stressing, phasing of construction, pattern language, the type of systematic approach to anthropic reality, the creation of hierarchical structure, a dynamic catalog of elements, of basis, facade and roof elements and its additions, process method that is generating prototypes on several layers, as well as solution through combination of elements and group of elements with intention of creating a series of originals. In invitation to the fellow architects to open the system to create a set of solutions. Sarajevo, the developments designed for adaptive changes. The idea of the composition built in the projects providing the potential of spreading of residential unit into the basement, the attic towards the streets and the green backyard, raw, destruction, fiercely shelled residential estate, tightened, reinforced high-mass structure, resisted artillery barrage and enabled not only recovery of the houses but also upgrading and extending. Used bonus of transformation and houses turned to homes by personal participating of tenants. Catharsis. It's invisible, sorry. It's totally out of focus. Greeks insert in planem, collage of the copies, retelling or translating Belgrade to our personal architectural language, relieve it of the matter, abstract it so it could be read exactly how he should appear to us. A created fictional map of Belgrade with the fictional history of meat and stubble island by tearing fragments apart and assembling endless plans and maps of ideal cities on Great War Island. It is unclear whether these are plans or constructed artifacts, real or fake documents, a mixture of real and fictional historical facts, confusion of original plans and forgery, created originals, the appropriation of the city, subconscious desire to deconstruct, conscious striving for ideal city. What is not written is not even there. You shall create the artifacts of history, evidence and monuments, bury them and excavate them around the clock as in Borges' tale. The plan of modern metropolis with the title The Modern City. The critic of seized modernization of Belgrade, the sunken city, an expression of rebellion against the actual practice and the spiritual torpor, but the great excitement and joy of creating a city. Lars Gustafsson. It is not enough to explain the world. The world should be constructed. Bogdan Bogdanovic pointed at the play of the world, a French author, where one is creating with cubes a model of the village, polis, city and its surroundings. And each and every time it's clear that we still bear immortal cities in ourselves. Natural Great War Island reservation, neither mud nor water or land, defeated politicians, clients and architects. Without war, betraying his own name. Expulsion from earthly paradise. Photo collage. Erotic understanding of nature and landscape in full harmony with ideal creations of humankind, with ideal cities that we carry inside. Abandonment of paradise, abandonment of the ideal city, idealistic ideas and positions, ideals in general. Abandonment of all natural, spontaneous in nature and humanity. Announcement of the end of Renaissance, the beginning of the green putrefaction, exposing, unmasking. Sin, the awareness that we are never going back to the position of the year 1984. Announcement of the complete deconstruction of the community, the state and moral. The work was stolen during the exposure abroad. A new original is crafted. Aldo Rossi, our task is not to go back to paradise, but to be closer to more precise and earthly way. Arrival of a large number of Italian architects with exhibition La Nave di Pietra, Rossi, Portoghese, Anselmo, Purin, Laura Termes. We boarded as pariahs, like Adam and Eve on the stone ship, Isola Tiberina. Il postmodernismo, beautiful, so young, but mature, hand-drawn, vessel painted in colors illusion that flows for thousands of years and now better than ever. Encouraged, again armed with the meaning, beauty and architecture. Regardless of that, the architecture of the island from the exhibition remained only on paper. Block 24, old in the new, or vice versa. Jam session, a rich market of authors' buildings, mutually compatible, is created. Authors of the block, at their discretion, select the elements and create their own outer block in previously agreed lot. Team work enables temporal diversity in one time frame and a shift and difference in space. The reappearance of old town block in the new Belgrade area. The project supported the planned axis of Nikola Dobrovic, Palace of the Serbia, New Belgrade train station. The competition soon brought destruction of the axis and later by sport arena. Thus, Ecumanus, Beat Cargo, and one important lateral prospect vanished. Such proceedings eventually become a part of everyday practice in further fragmentation and in constant feeling of the modern city of New Belgrade. A crime of negligence or premeditation of the jury and the city official became a commonplace rule. Discordant hybridization, parasiting and inviting forms and functions, permanent de-aesthetization, a chronic thrombosis of the city, the blind Belgrade, Belgrade without a vision or plan, Belgrade of inner destruction, the dissolution, fragmentation, rearrangement, fencing, tearing up the city, the discontinued city, city of heterotopy, city, downside, castle. The culture center of the third millennium. The exhibition is a dialogue as part of a new practice and the possible new reality directing interest parties to the void in the center thereof, the most attractive development plan, which ought to be left to the missing objects of culture, ingenuity of the exhibition, the diversity of the manuscripts, new trend of postmodern architecture made it seem that the moment the rarity is rediscovered. Dragoslav Srejovic, in essay, When We Were the Cultural Center of the World, declares that Serbia is noble, a benevolent country. Her territory was on several occasions the center of the civilized world, and often was the parent of the people and ideas that had a decisive influence on the economic, culture, and political history of Europe. Alexander Despic, in essay Towards the Third Millennium, declares, we stand 20 years to the end of this century. In many environments, similar opportunity was used to develop objects of lasting value, which even today fulfill its purpose. Our soil lacks in many buildings of cultural institutions that mark the developed areas and allow transmission of human achievements during the past millennium to a new generation. On this basis, a group of Academy members discussed the possibility that in our country use the opportunity in order to alleviate the delay caused by the historical destiny of our people. The strife of modernism and postmodernism, the Titos and post-Titos era. In the same year came the SANU Memorandum, of whom it is said to be one of the important factors in the destruction of Yugoslavia. Despic did not anticipate it or foresaw that the direct entry into the third millennium would end only in non-existence of major cultural facilities, but that it will end up in wars of 90s and quarterly destruction of NATO bombing of Serbia and Belgrade. The design and construction of several residential estates and buildings are completed. Nothing to declare. Interior. Only one. The first drawing sketch is rediscovered. It introduces the topic of the architecture of the construction. However, visible separation remained in manuscript, as well as disassembling and stripping of elements. All elements in fairly allegorical, abstracted form of symbolic connotation. Deconstruction, disassembly, destruction is a common fate of interior. As with the previous that we cleansed of bricks, same happened with this one, vanished as if there was none. Genex, the radicalized interpolation, not accepting mimicry and drawing into the historical architecture, dismembering and breaking of the building in most important structural elements. All the elements are separated and all of sails are hovering, creating a town scenery. A slight hint of destruction in strikingly inclined front facade and removed masses of the rear facade suggests not just the formal, but maybe the real destruction. Close at the anticipation of the departure and the symbolic presence of Paris, repeatedly smashed American and the French cultural centers, the shadow of a war and destruction. The futuristic approach to Sava Theater of Third Millennium. Aspect project related to huge mega projects remained virtually without a trace. The grid is set to reinforce the identity of the center on both sides of the river Sava, an open framework designed for dynamic changes in the sequence of events and anticipated developing. The toponyms, town fields, technological and ecological field. Students interpreted and translated the dismantling set model in different directions, further experimenting and demonstrating the application of the methodology. This study by the character is ranking among the utopian visions of urbanization and organization of the urban structure. One by one, we were slowly leaving the house that wasn't set on fire yet. This time, the center of culture, now under geographic title, is without the word culture that vanished before visible uncertainty of decaying economic system and the social cohesion of Yugoslavia. The city center, its core, in the area of the former marshes and swamps of the banks of Sava, still left to decay and waiting for a better time as the last reservoir of the most exclusive construction land. Marketplace. The street is decomposed and structured on multiple levels. All the architectural elements are separated, decomposed, and reassembled. Gable, front facade of the market building is separated from the body of the building, with traces of gunshot and shrapnel splinters. The war was recorded, anticipated, recognized, published on the body of the building. The urban utopia, the homage to the city of Vukovar. The discourse of image written word. I turned the plan upside down and set it as a pink cloud in the sky and let the angels hold it above Vukovar in flames. And like a gargantuan illuminated nautilus, symbol of urban, civilized and human, to provide a hope to survivors, to warn and frighten urbicidal murders. By the picture appear the verses I sang hidden behind the image I have created. Bogdanovic's love to the city and the city of Belgrade, his uniqueness, urbophilia, and the suffering of Vukovar would bring and develop the term urbicities. Air France, departure, exile in Paris, to survive by architecture. Creativity is switched to drawing and painting. The Balkans is burning down. Terrible news surpassed the dreadful ones, like with the decaying Yugo community. Shortly after the collapse of Yugoslavia, the Yugo diaspora fell apart as well. Ville d'Espoir, 1993. Invitation to the Creativity Festival calling astronauts, exhibition and lectures in Louvain-la-Neuve and in Antwerp. The gathering of the displaced artists from around the world. In process of preparation for the exhibition lasted for a few days and nights, outlines of a city emerged in sketches, drawings and writings, fragments, hybrids, water farm, vessels, amphibians, toys, theater, city on the sea, arise in terms of searching for salvation for all refugees. Those seas will never be so warm, the sun will never burn as before. Ville d'Espoir, 1997, a sole exhibition in Ordre des Architectes, Paris, Ville d'Espoir emerges and for the first time arises the text Ville d'Espoir, Ville Maritime. The whole creation of image conception became redundant. It actually just led to the creation of the text, shaping of all the words in short poem. Moment of silence. It's not readable, I'm sorry. The city of third millennia, Paris archaeology, the excavation of the Paris of the 16th century, forever vanished Parisian hybrids, bridges, buildings, shops exist there again, challenging the past and disappearance by its mere presence. Exhumations, forensic architecture. Several solo exhibitions in Paris and Aubergenville. Cauchemar, Nightwork, Faces, Bodies, Bodies and Faces, One-Man Show, Architecture de l'Imagination, Ville d'Espoir, Destruction, Fear, Violence, Crimes, Atrocities of the previous times finding their way to the notes in shapes, drawings and paintings by suppressing everything else. The black ink of the war. The construction of Millennium Opera, picture frame, creating a stand in the square with a mechanism for hanging the rear panels and large posters, wall screen, monitor structure for acrobats or actors and artists. Inverted in dynamic theater from the inside out. Disclosure, demystification, inversion. Zepter Center, Moscow. Foliage forms, deconstruction and abstraction, breakage of the entrance gate, tectonics and its breaking up, the beginning of bombing campaign against Serbia war. There was the first war edition of weekly magazine Bremen, Time. It's not possible to see. The destructor is named. Villas. Belgrade villas designed and drawn in Paris and faxed to Belgrade. Short enthusiasm of deconstructivistic architecture returned to the late, soggy, tired and consumed postmodern. Homecoming. Get away back. Come back to Maidapet. Fresh enthusiasm, new euphoria, new disappointments. Imago Mundi, observatory of the future. Back to the nature in the most conceptual sense. Drama of creation of the world and introspection into the future by contemplating the past. One act play. Drawings and text are made equal. Heredizing the difference between the rhetorical, written spoken script of drama and logical project discourse of arising the difference between the architect and the philosopher, maybe. Past. Memorial of all souls, fighters and victims, competitions. Not really. Realization. The architecture is unfree, opportunistic. Future proposals. Miracolo a Milano. The defining cathedral architecture. The last fortress of metaphysics is complete metaphysical illusion. There is no confusion here, nor the Tower of Babel. It doesn't decay. It is confident. It is helped to stay as such, to be an absolute. Where was the architect's Babylon? The architect's Babylon is deconstructed. The architect is deconstructed, dismantled. He became just an idea what he was supposed to be. The Tower of Babel is the idea of architecture itself, the merger of heaven and earth. More of of the city and the tower, interference, confusion, hybridism. Belgrade is Babylon as well, that constantly eludes, more destroyed than alive, more alive than dead, wandering around, the life at low frequency. Here, mythologization is incorporated, the mythology of memory line, the archaeology of paper architecture, and some lonely brick, interpretation, an attempt of demystification, archaeological abyss, fragility of the construct. It appears to me that artwork work is illusion, henceforth imitation. The essence, center, core of the work does not exist. The architecture does not have a midpoint, doesn't have a center. The center is a phantom. The center is the essence only when it gets outside of the center. It doesn't exist, and it's an illusion, even though one often talks about it. The polycentrism against the center, illusion, projection, phantasm, futility, stereotypes, truth and lies, symbiosis of incompatible. Leonid Sheikha. As it is obvious, the city has the same surface as the rubbish dump. Between the city and the dump site, there is an overflow zone. It is unknown where the city begins and where the dump site ends. If there was a castle over the dump site, would lead the shortest way to do it. But all that was not always so simple. We live in a world of illusion, illusory, and you never know neither the beginning nor did it reach culmination, or even that the feeling of movement is complete fallacy. The one perhaps is standing in the same spot or turning around in circles or walks too long down the same line. So it's already boredom. All that we create is nothing but the same castles. Whether the work is in that way personal, that it could possibly be just some unusual mirror, that its image doesn't really have any connection with the reality and truth, maybe. Could architecture in general have the connection with the previously imposed, or is it just the absurdity? Is the outness of the work just its ability of illusion? Neither true nor false, neither present nor absent. Artistry is dependent on someone. One needs to maintain it, to prevent its destruction, disintegration, and disappearance. There is no artistry without man. Whether will every new generation seek its own reality, not noticing the other ones? It is enough to ignore the artwork and it will cease to exist. Through discontinuity upon the continuity and the end. The past remains just the past, and without the future. The future has no past. The beginning was dead, but not the end. The worlds formed by Protomeister Bogdan Bogdanovic and the other are perished because Wierspuch's demons. Bogdan Bogdanovic would not be known as doomed architect otherwise. The expulsion from the earthly paradise, and all will soon be forgotten. The presence of the past and the memory line, everything vanishes without the care. The lake, swamp, marsh is only irreversible state whose pulling it downwards with the great force. One shall resist. If everything vanishes, we will start from scratch. Fashion, trends, mainstreams, wars. War is both a father to all and king of everyone. We never wanted to avoid the war. Mythological disorientation, that is just a context of inner destruction. Belgrade was shattered up to under the foundation for at least 44 times. 4 times would be sufficient. Archaeological abyss will be filled maybe by Hadid, Libeskind, Podreka. Belgrade is under siege from inside, being deconstructed from within by politics, corruption, ignorance, disputed, denied modernism, new Belgrade, which is degraded and is not completed by integrated dissolution, dead by thickness. Same with Old Town. Belgrade has no more available locations. All that remains is magically forgotten, abandoned interstitial spots. The rest is his essence or center. The rest of dump site will be fulfilled with the peeled rubbish, architectural carcasses. Belgrade cannot extend the internal network of streets, through it steadily getting denser. The necrosis threatens. It is certainly in progress, and trapped in the ring of wild slums made of stone and concrete, being legalized, dying piece by piece, state by state. Somewhere along the way, we lost architecture, piece by piece, controlled haphazard, rampant gardening, fragmentation, no love, no money. Serbia is long time forgotten. Merchants provide the illusion that by selling of goods would revive her. She's deeper and deeper in coma. No one likes her, neither her politician nor people. She doesn't yield a thing to nobody, nor people to her. Abyss of the architecture, total necrosis of Belgrade and that of Serbia. Petrified sheep, doomed sheep, barbarogenous recivilizators. Arguing Deja and Jadi, Polemos, Etimon, Parergon, Energon, Noumeno, and Apeiron, eternal and cosmic, erasing the difference between the rhetorical and logical discourse, erases the difference between art criticism and philosophy, between architect and philosopher. One word changes everything. Who here doesn't go crazy is not normal. East of Eden, all fight on the Western Front. In the polemic, wrangling with myself, architecture is a pure metaphysics.
I would like to go a little bit back to the beginning of your lecture, and I would like to ask you something about everyday changes. You were talking about rediscovering reality. What do you think? Where or when is the moment when we are conscious that things are no more as they used to be? As they used to be. Okay. When or where is the moment when we are getting conscious that things are no more as they used to be? Talking about the everyday changes.
I think it's either years. It's and I don't know. It comes maybe after some catharsis or changes. You don't see. I couldn't see it quite fast time. I just saw it after some years, decades. Maybe intuition inside felt something else, but it was a kind of a struggle between mind and the emotions. Intuition is also kind of mind. I don't know